Hello everybody and welcome to Off the Bat. For this video, we are going to be doing a Derek Jeter career simulation. If you haven't seen the Babe Ruth, Jackie Robinson, or the Barry Bonds ones, please go check those out. But for now, we are going to be doing a Derek Jeter one. So if you didn't see any of the other ones, the way it works is we take a historic player import, and for this one, we'll be choosing Derek Jeter. So this is what the game thinks of him right now at the age of 20. And it says that he's draft eligible at in 2022 because that's the rules of the MLB for how old you have to be to enter the draft. So we're gonna sim till then, and then we'll see what team he ends up on. So right here you can see that he was picked in round one. He was the second pick in the draft, and I believe the second pick was the Kansas City Royals. But as you can see, he doesn't have any team right now. So I'm going to tell you guys when he is put on the roster. So it turns out that Derek Jeter was actually drafted by the Texas Rangers. As you can see, he's on the Frisco Rough Riders, which are the AA team in the Texas League for the Rangers. So I'm going to switch over to look at the Rangers, and we'll see how his career plays out. And it looks like for some reason, Derek Jeter was sent down to the A team, Hickory Crawdads, so that's a step back. And you see he's 2.5 stars according to OSA, 5-star maxed out potential, and it looks like they're recommending that we call him up, but it's not really my choice right now. It's our assistant GM's choice. You see he's doing pretty well. Let's see his stats in the minors. Yeah, they sent him down after he hit 340 in Double A, which doesn't really make too much sense to me. It looks like he was playing well through 12 games, but we'll see what happens next. And the season is over, and the Rangers completely sucked, 74 and 87. Well, not as bad as they usually do in these simulations, but still well out of the playoffs. And your 2022 MLB champions are the Los Angeles Dodgers. Alright, we're just about to start year 2 of Derek Jeter's career, and as you can see, he is now on the Double A team, so that's good to see. Alright, so we have now reached the trade deadline, and I do not see Derek Jeter anywhere in this lineup. The Double A, not the roster, so I'm going to see where he is. And it looks like he's on the Milwaukee Brewers, so let's see what happened. Texas actually had a trade with Milwaukee, that's how he got there. Let's see what it was. So Luis Urias was traded away from Milwaukee for Derek Jeter. That's quite the big move there because Urias is 26, so 2 years older than Jeter in the simulation. And as you can see, he was 3.5 stars, 3.5 star potential. So obviously Derek Jeter looks like the better player, like for the future. But yeah, that's a really interesting deal there. So I guess we're gonna take control of Milwaukee now, and we'll see what happens. So by moving to the Brewers now, you see Jeter is 46 and 58 his team, and they're third in their division because the Central Division for the National League is actually one of the weakest divisions in the MLB. So he went from being the 5th in his division to the 3rd. So hopefully this will help improve his legacy with more playoff appearances. But let's see if he's on the active roster. And it looks like, let's see. I'm not sure. Let's go with potential here. And yeah, so he is on the active roster. 3 stars, 4.5 star potential now, according to that's according to our scouts. So let's go to OSA. Yeah, OSA has him at 5 stars. So definitely a very promising player, obviously, Derek Jeter. And let's see how he does on the Brewers. So we have now reached the end of the regular season, and I can see here Derek Jeter is on the injured list with a 2-month injury, the torn quadriceps. So that's not very good for his career. Let's see how he did in the 2023 season, though. He split it between Texas and Milwaukee, about the same amount of games each. So let's just see how he did. He definitely took a step back in batting average when he went to Milwaukee, from 329 to 265, so that's a big dip there. He hit 6 home runs total on the season, and it looks like he played a little. He had some more quality hits on Milwaukee, but his overall batting average was well above what it was in Milwaukee with Texas. So let's just see how he does next season. And so the Dodgers go back-to-back in the World Series. So prior to the 2024 season, I just wanted to point out that there are 2 expansion teams in the MLB. We got the Austin Bees in the AL West Division, and in the NL West Division, we got the El Paso Checkers. So definitely a more competitive league now, and it's going to be hard to win the World Series, so we'll see what happens. And now it is opening day against Philadelphia, and I just wanted to point out that Derek Jeter is on the San Antonio Missions, the AAA team for the Milwaukee Brewers. So we'll see how long that lasts. Now keep in mind that he is coming off of an injury, so he could just be on here temporarily. So we'll see how long he is on the AAA team. And I've simulated to the All-Star break, and it looks like Derek Jeter is still on the San Antonio Missions. Let's see what his numbers are looking like so far. And it looks like he's hitting 305, so a bit better. Obviously, he was in the majors last season, so his numbers should improve. And 78 RBIs. Is that 14? No, it's actually 78 hits. He has only 3 home runs and 31 RBIs. So, but it's only the All-Star break. So let's see how he ends up doing. He's angry, as you can see. He wants to play in the majors. Let's see what happens. And so Derek Jeter is still angry, as you can see. He wants to play in majors, and I agree, because if you're a 4-star player going to OSA, 5-star potential, I think you should be playing in the majors, no problem. But he's still on the San Antonio Missions. As you can see, he hit 297 on the year. And let's see how he did for RBIs. He had 72. Home runs, he had 9. He was never a huge home run hitter, but definitely a great batting average. You see 347 this season. He actually had the second half, a bit of the season in the majors. You see Milwaukee. But it looks like he's on the Missions right now, which is kind of weird because he spent most of his time, even though he's 4 stars in the minors. But yeah, so you can see that in San Antonio hit 347, which makes more sense. So let's see how the Brewers do. Now, something interesting I saw was in the standings. You see they're 1 game behind the Cardinals. Today's the last game of the regular season, so let's see if they could force a tiebreaker game. The Cardinals would have to lose, and the Milwaukee Brewers would have to win. So let's see what happens. And so they end up winning the game, and the Cardinals lose. So it looks like they're going to have a tiebreaker game, which is pretty exciting. And let's see what happens in the tiebreaker. So here we go. And will they win against St. Louis? No, they lose 1-6. So St. Louis is moving on to the playoffs. Milwaukee is eliminated. And so the Braves sweep the Angels to win the 2024 World Series. And it looks like Derek Jeter will be on the active roster, and rightfully so. He is 25 years old, and he's already 4.5 stars with 5-star potential. You see, he's the 4th best player on this team. Obviously, a great Milwaukee Brewers team. I don't know how they only won 82 games last season, because this looks like a great roster. Part of it was probably because they didn't call up Derek Jeter, but it looks like he'll be playing in the majors this year, which is pretty cool. He signed through 2024, but I'm sure there's arbitration because he doesn't have enough service time. He's unhappy, he wants to be in the starting lineup, but I'm pretty sure he's going to get that this season, so let's see what happens. So it is now the end of the 2025 regular season, and Derek Jeter's morale is now up to very good. He's pretty fragile for his injury proneness. As you can see, he only played 121 games in the season so far. I mean, there's 1 more game left, so it's not quite the end of the season. It's against San Diego, but unfortunately, they are eliminated from the playoffs officially. So let's see his stats throughout the season. He hit .264. He had 40 RBIs, 12 homers, a triple, 25 doubles, 129 hits. He did pretty well. He only started 119 out of the 121 games, so I don't know why he was on the bench for some of it, but anyway, he had a pretty decent season. He is 26 years old, so definitely getting up there. He spent so much time in the minors. He spent some time in Texas, and so now he's just he got drafted a bit late too in his career because he spent a few years in college. So let's see how long his career lasts because he's already 26. And the San Diego Padres win the 2025 World Series. It's quite interesting. The OSA ratings have him at 4.5 star. And 5-star potential, so fully maxed out. But our head scout only thinks he's a 3.5-star player with 4-star potential. Now you see the scouting accuracy is high for my head scout, and it's pretty low for the OSA. So I'm not sure which to trust more, but it's a pretty big difference. So that's pretty interesting. I also find it weird that Derek Jeter is playing first base, which is a secondary position in his real career. But their shortstop, it's not like they have an amazing shortstop. In fact, they have the worst one in the league. Obviously, there's 32 teams now, and the league ranking for Kramer Robertson, who's their two-star shortstop is 30 seconds, so he's the worst shortstop in the league according to OSA. And so Derek Jeter, let's see how. Yeah, his first base is actually better than shortstop at. He started off his career. He started off his career as shortstop was well better than his first base, but I guess he's improved in there because he's practiced in first base a lot more now. So that's pretty interesting. All right, we're starting 2026. And for Derek Jeter, he is now the best player on the team. He has 5 stars, maxed out potential. Obviously, 5 stars is the most you could have. And he's only 26 years old. He hasn't made an All-Star team yet, so this is probably going to be his first year as an All-Star. So yesterday was the All-Star game, and it's actually quite interesting because Derek Jeter didn't actually make it. As you can see up here, he has no awards. History, his only Major League award was a one-time Player of the Week, so that's not very good. He also decreased in 1.5 star according to OSA, and his head scout has him at 4 stars. Now, let's see how he's doing so far this season. He's hitting .269, 7 homers, 29 RBIs, projected to have 15 homers and 63 RBIs. Let's see how it plays out in the second half of the season. Now, as you can see, the Brewers are 37-38. They're close to 500, and let's see how their division is going. It's not the best division. The Reds are leading with a .581 record. They're going to need a big push for the playoffs, but we'll see what happens. So the season is over, the 2026 season, the regular season at least, and the Milwaukee Brewers were actually the worst team in their division, tied for 5th with Pittsburgh. See, they were both 68 and 93, not very good, and let's see how Derek Jeter's stats were looking like this season. As you can see right here, I don't know where he is right now, to be honest. Oh, he's on the injured list. He's on a rehab assignment in AAA. Yeah, he is pretty injury prone. As you can see, he's fragile as his injury proneness. And let's see how he did last season. So it looks like he hit .312, which is really good. He's always known for hitting at a good average. He had 16 home runs, which is a little above what he was projected to go, so that's pretty good. And 51 RBI, so definitely getting better. He's 27 years old, and he still hasn't made an All-Star team, which is really surprising to me because he made 14 of them in his real career. So I really expected him to turn it up and make some All-Star teams, especially with his high overall. But it'll look like maybe next season. All right, let's see. So we're going to year 6 of his MLB career, I believe, or sorry, year number 5, and since he was playing in Texas, and he is 5 stars according to OSA. It looks like he's entering his prime of his career right now at 27. Let's see if he could finally make an All-Star team. Oh my goodness, I can't make this up. Derek Jeter has been snubbed from another All-Star team. As you can see, no All-Star appearances. We go to his history. He only has 1 Player of the Week award. Now, this is very different from his real life accolades where he had 14 All-Star appearances. Right now, he has 0 in the simulation. He has a .288 batting average, 33 RBIs, and 8 homers at the All-Star break. And we're just going to see how the rest of the season goes, and hopefully he has a better season, makes the playoffs, but doesn't look like it with the record that he's at right now. And as you can see, he's signed through 2027, which with arbitration, so that's this season. So we'll see what ends up happening at the end of the season. Okay, so now it is the end of the 2027 season, and the Milwaukee Brewers went 61-100, which is a terrible record. They were the worst in their division. And let's see what Derek Jeter's stats looked like this season. So as you can see, he hit .276. He had 87 RBIs and 25 homers. So those are definitely his career highs at the age of 28. As you can see, his morale is angry. I guess it's because his team is not winning. Let's look at his contract. So this is actually the last year of his contract. He didn't have an extension negotiated, so we'll see what happens. He could be moving to a different team in free agency because it looks like he's unhappy with his role on this Brewers team. And so in 2027, the Royals end up winning their second championship in the decade. Well, not really the decade, but the last 10 years, as they won one in 2015. So that's pretty cool. We are now simulating to free agency filings, and we're going to see how Derek Jeter is going to do in the open market. And it looks like Derek Jeter is going to stay on the Brewers. He's making only $4 million, which is not what I was expecting. The arbitration, I guess they ruled in favor of the team. He's apparently he's very unhappy, and yeah, that's kind of odd how they kept him even though he was pretty unhappy with his role. They could have gotten something. Maybe they're going to go trade him and see if they could get value from him. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a trade to announce. Derek Jeter has joined the expansion team, the El Paso Checkers. As you can see, it is 2027 in free agency. So I guess the team, the Brewers, signed him just to trade him away so they could get some value out of him. So we're going to see how he ends up doing with the Checkers. Now the Checkers are, I believe, in the NL West division. Yeah, so they're in the NL West. You can see right here. Last year they went 76 and 86, but hopefully he could help them win. So I'm going to go change the job. I'm going to go join the El Paso Checkers right here. And obviously I'm not doing anything. I'm not making any trades. We're just going to see what the assistant GM is going to do and how Derek Jeter's career will play out. Alright, so today is opening day, and we're going to see how Derek Jeter does on the El Paso Checkers. Okay, so it's now the All-Star break, and Derek Jeter, as you can see, he is angry, so he can't catch a break. As you can see, OSA has him at 4.5 stars right now, and he is 28 years old. So let's see how he's been doing so far this season. He's at hitting .269. He has 36 RBIs, 9 homers, but he still hasn't made an All-Star team. It looks like if he doesn't make it in the next year or two, he isn't going to make a single one for his career. So it seems like his career is greatly unappreciated right now. So let's see what happens. So we have now reached the end of the season, and Derek Jeter is actually on rehab. As you can see, he has 3 days left on Omaha. So he was just doing a bit of rehab there. It looks like he didn't have any stats this season. I think he was injured for the whole season, it looks like. Yeah, so he was rehabbing at the end of the season, it looks like. 112 games in AAA. So I'm not sure what happened there, but he's definitely angry. He wants to play in the majors, and rightfully so. He's only making $4 million. He's in his prime, so obviously he wants to get the best years out of his career. He's still 4.5 stars going to OSA. So I don't know what they were thinking for making him play in AAA. Yeah, so let's just continue on. And it looks like the Mets are going to win against the Orioles in 7 games to clinch the 2028 World Series. So the arbitration period was actually just yesterday, and as you can see, Derek Jeter is signed through the 2029 season at a contract of $5,200,000. That's actually the most he's ever made in a season. You see, he made the minimum a lot of years. He made $4 million a couple years, and yeah, he's only made $14 million total in his career, which is actually very low. Started in 2023, so he's already 29 and hasn't even made an All-Star team. 4 stars according to the head scout, and OSA still has him at 4.5 stars. So obviously the OSA really values him a lot more than everybody else, including the All-Star voters and his team that brought him to AAA last season. So that was kind of weird, especially since they only won 60 games. So it's not like they had a crazy God squad that he couldn't be part of. Alright, so Derek Jeter is very unhappy. It is the start of opening days today. And let's look at how we are projected to go. And the preseason predictions came out today. And as you can see right here, the El Paso Checkers are projected to only go 73 and 89, the worst team in the National League. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Derek Jeter has had a well worse career than he did in real life. No All-Star appearances compared to the 14, as I mentioned before. And it seems like he could never make the playoffs. And it looks like a 29-year-old Derek Jeter is going to miss the All-Star team again. He has only won 2 Player of the Weeks. That's his only Major League awards. That's a summary. Just 2 Player of the Week awards. And he's on the Checkers, 28 and 47. Not looking good for him here. It looks like he's going to miss the playoffs again. He hasn't made it a single year in his career. And so the Checkers missed the playoffs once again. Let's look at how Derek Jeter did this season. He is 4 stars now according to OSA, and the head scout also has him at 4 stars. So they finally agree for once. And now he's 30 years old, still hasn't made an All-Star team, as I mentioned before, or won any award other than Player of the Week. And yeah, let's see how he did this season. So he played 158 games so far. He's about to play 159. He's hitting .294, which is actually really good. One of his best seasons in terms of batting average. He had 21 homers, 55 RBIs. So definitely putting up close to all-star numbers, and just not making it. He's not making the playoffs either. But he's having a pretty unappreciated career. But if you look at the numbers, he's actually playing pretty well. I'm gonna look at his WAR. He had a 2.8 WAR this season too, which is very good. And throughout his career, actually, the past 3 seasons, he had some pretty good WARs too, wins above replacement. So yeah, he should be definitely making some more All-Star teams and stuff. But unfortunately, he isn't. And I can't believe this, but the Royals actually came back from down 3-0 in the World Series to beat it out against the Nationals. So that's pretty cool. The Royals get another championship there. Pretty weird message just popped up. Derek Jeter is going to be suspended for 3 games by the Office of the Commissioner. It doesn't tell me why. Just he's suspended for 3 games, the first 3 of the season. So let's see how it ends up going. Obviously, he could still play the rest of the games, but let's see how the team ends up playing. Let's see the preseason predictions. Let's look at National League predicted standings in the West Division, and we are projected to win just 58 games. So it looks like it's going to be another year where Derek Jeter misses the playoffs. But let's see if he has an All-Star year finally. He's 30 years old. And the unhappy Derek Jeter is going to miss the All-Star game again. And it looks like he's actually hit his team's 480. So there's a chance that if they turn it up in the second half of the season, he could make his first playoff appearance. However, it is a strong division. They're 7 games behind, even though they're 5th. So it's a pretty close race in the division. So we'll see what happens. And in the wild card, they're 6 games behind. So you know what? This could be the first year that Derek Jeter ends up making the playoffs, but they're going to have to make a big push in the second half of the season. Alright, so it was another year to forget for Derek Jeter in his career. 79-83 was the record, so a little better than last season, but they had a tough July, and that's why they kind of fell back there, 12 games behind the first place in the division, 10 games behind the wild card. So unfortunately, he misses the playoffs again, doesn't make it yet in his career. I don't know if later he will. But also another thing that sucks, as you can see, he has a 4-day groin injury so far. Let's just look at his stats quickly before I explain this. So he is hitting 306, which is actually pretty good. Still not an All-Star though. 19 homers, 69 RBIs. So he had a pretty decent season there. And let's just look at the standings. So basically, he started off his career on Texas, and Texas actually ended up having the best record in the league at 103-59. So if only he didn't get traded from Texas, they could have done something special there. But we're just gonna go see what happens in the playoffs. Okay, so it looks like the Royals have started a bit of a dynasty here, sweeping the Padres, and they just won their 3rd World Series in the simulation, I believe, and their 4th since 2015. So it's now 2030, so that's pretty cool. The Royals are doing really well. And right now it is free agency filings, and Derek Jeter is now a free agent. It is the year 2030. Right after he hasn't made the playoffs for a long, long time. And as you can see, he's 31 years old. He's still 4 stars according to OSA, and his head scout has him at 4 stars too. So it looks like he could actually make an impact on an MLB team still. So hopefully he doesn't retire, and let's see what he ends up doing in free agency. And it turns out that Derek Jeter has switched teams again. He is now on the Philadelphia Phillies. He's a first baseman, which still kind of weirds me out because he actually played most of his career shortstop in real life. But here we go. He signed for $13 million, which I believe is the highest in his career at the age of 31. And he's going to be a free agent in 2034. So he signed, I believe, a 3-year deal. No, it was a 4-year deal from 2031 to 2034. All for the same amount, $13 million. And I'm gonna see how Philadelphia did last year in the standings because it's kind of interesting to see how he might be able to do. So they actually had a positive record, 7 games behind the Mets. So let's see if Derek Jeter could help them win. I'm going to switch my team to the Phillies, and we're gonna see how it goes. Now, just before we start the season, obviously you see Derek Jeter has a week of injury left. You see it's a strained back, but hopefully that'll be better before the season starts. Well, actually, it's opening day today, but we'll see if he recovers and has a healthy season. So here's what the roster for the Philadelphia Phillies is looking like. We got Cody Bellinger, 35 years old, remember, but he's still 5 stars. We got Francisco Mejia. We got Spencer Torkelson. Looks like we got some pretty good guys on the roster. It starts to get a little weak towards the end of the 27-man roster. I don't know if that changed with the MLB rules switching up in the last decade that I've been simulating. But yeah, so it seems like an interesting team that he was going to play with. And we'll see if he could finally make the playoffs for once in his career. We have now reached the 2031 All-Star Game, and Derek Jeter missed it again. Now, as you can see, he's still a two-time Player of the Week award winner, and that's all his Major League awards throughout his entire career since 2023. So it's been quite a long career to only win two Player of the Week awards to be this good. And so far this season, he's averaging 291. He has 14 home runs, 31 RBIs. Let's see how he finishes it out. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this was definitely the best season of Derek Jeter's career. He's 32 years old, but it doesn't matter. Look at the stats. He hit 315 as his batting average. He had 31 home runs, 79 RBIs. He's projected to have 200 hits. He has one more game this season. 152 games played. So this is actually the best season of his career. And not only that, but he made the playoffs. As you can see, the team was 91-70. It wasn't even close in the division. Obviously, a weak division, as the second best was the Miami Marlins, who were only 81-80. But they still get a playoff, a postseason spot. So we're gonna see how they end up doing there. We're gonna go straight on to the playoffs. So let's go till the playoff ends and see what happens in the simulation. All right, so it's just simulating until the playoffs here, and we're just gonna wait till it enters the postseason. All right, so here we go. We got the Phillies facing off against the Dodgers there. So let's see how the series is going to go. I'm excited to see if they're going to move on. The Dodgers had a better record than them, I believe, and they win Game 1 there. Let's see if they advance, or now that's 2 games, so come on. We're on the brink of elimination here. Derek Jeter will come back, and they do. So they actually come back from down 2-0 against the Dodgers. Now they're up 2-0 against the Brewers. 3-0 in the championship series, and they actually advanced to the World Series. So Derek Jeter, in his first playoff appearance, he's in the World Series, and they're up 2-1, 3-1 against the Orioles, and it's Game 7, but they actually blow a 3-1 lead in the World Series against the Orioles. That kind of sucks for Derek Jeter, but at least he made it that far in the playoffs for his first ever playoff appearance. It is the offseason right now, and it's really nice to see that Derek Jeter, at the age of 32, has increased again to a 4-star player. So that's really cool to see, because he was actually 3.5-star before. According to the head scout, he's 4-star as well. So that's nice to see here. He's obviously, his morale is great. He just came off of his first playoff appearance and made the World Series, so that was cool. He also had a career high in batting average, I believe, career high in homers, 31. I don't think in real life he's ever had 31 homers, so I'm surprised he didn't actually make an All-Star team last year, so I'm actually going to check this year to see if he makes it, because that'd be pretty cool to see him make it at 32 or 33 years old. So it is now the All-Star break in 2032, and something that I forgot to mention is that Derek Jeter actually won an award last season. It was the NL Division Series MVP, so that was pretty cool in the playoffs to win an NL Division Series MVP. But here we go. So he has a great morale still. He's unable to play right now. He's out with a torn quadriceps for 3 more weeks, so hopefully he'll be back in time in case this team makes the postseason. They're looking pretty good. 622 record, 46-28. So definitely the best in their division by quite a bit, actually. 5.5 games above the Atlanta Braves, who are on a 10-game win streak. So they got to watch out for that, because they're coming in hot. And let's simulate the rest of the season and see if they make the playoffs. Okay, so the 2032 regular season has come to an end, and the Philadelphia Phillies have made the playoffs again. Now, the Atlanta Braves did push the pace up in the second half of the season, so as you can see, they were only 4.5 games behind and did make the wild card. So it was a close finish, but the Phillies were able to do it. And so Derek Jeter just joins the Phillies and makes the playoffs for the first 2 times in a row for his career, and he is now a 4-star player, which is great to see. Let's see how he played this season. Not as good as last season, but he still played very well. He had a 293 batting average, 43 RBIs, 15 home runs, and yeah, just having fun out there making the playoffs. He's 33. Let's see if he can get a ring here, and yeah, let's see how the playoffs goes. So let's go until the playoff ends and see how the simulation goes. So here we go. As you can see, the NL East wasn't the strongest division, but you know, if all the teams are pretty even there, or somewhat even, then it's going to be tough to win games against your own division. So that's why some of the stronger divisions have you know, lower records. But it looks like we're facing the Dodgers again, and last time, if you don't remember, we were down 2-0 and managed to come back and win 3-2. So we'll see what happens in this series against the Dodgers. And sorry, the simulation takes a while. Let's see what happens in the wild card games though, and see what who the Cubs and the Yankees have to face. So it looks like Tampa Bay is going to move on against the Orioles. And here we go. We have the Milwaukee and Atlanta Braves game, and Atlanta's going to move on. All right, so here we go. We are simulating the division series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. So here we go. We're down 2-0 again. Can we come back like last time? And unfortunately, we do not. So the LA Dodgers move on. It's a short first round sweep exit, but unfortunately, that's the way it goes. But Derek Jeter made the playoffs for the second time in his career, which is very impressive. And will the Dodgers just sweep their way all the way? Nope. It's going to be actually the Cubs that come back 3-2. Will they move on? No, it's going to be the Dodgers that end up winning in Game 7, and the Dodgers are up 3-0, and they sweep in the championship. So it looks like we actually lost against the champion, which doesn't feel as bad, but it looks like maybe if we won against the Dodgers, we could have won the championship, but whatever. Derek Jeter does make the playoffs for the second time in a row, and that's what counts. I mean, building on his legacy, which is obviously not as good as real life, not nearly as good. He doesn't have any All-Star appearances like the 14 he had in real life or any of the Gold Glove awards, but still having a pretty successful career, and looks like he's having fun with the Phillies. And now I must suddenly announce the retirement of Derek Jeter, the Derek Jeter 2, obviously, the career simulation that we're doing today. As you can see, he had a positive WAR for pretty much all of his career, except for the year 2032, which was his last year. But obviously, well, that was actually just the AAA. He was in AAA, I guess, for some rehab because he was kind of injury prone. He was well known throughout his career despite not making an All-Star team. Very undervalued and underappreciated throughout his career. He was barely making any money in his contracts. He was unhappy. He wasn't making the playoffs, but eventually found his way with the Phillies for the last 2 years of his career. Made the playoffs for the first 2 times, made the World Series once, but lost in 7 games, I believe. And so yeah, he had a pretty fun little career there, but 8 years in the majors. So he did enter a little late. He entered the majors at the age of 22 years old. Actually 23 when he was called up, but entered the league at 22 with the Texas Rangers. But yeah, that was a fun little sim there, and it takes me a while to make these simulation videos, so I appreciate if you show your support by subscribing, turning on notifications so you could see when I upload a new video. Thanks everyone for watching, and have a good day.